Is there anybody there?
You guys shouldn't be doing this. You're too young because you're not ready for throwing curveballs, especially with this thing. So we thought, well, maybe we can make a ball that'll curve on its own with some control, and that'll solve that part of the problem.
What's up, Dad Hat Crew? Ed here. And on this episode, I had the absolute pleasure to bring you guys Dave Mullany. He is the president of a great brand. If you grew up loving the game of baseball, you grew up loving this brand. What brand is that? That's right, guys. Wiffle Ball. He is the son and grandson of the co-creators of Wiffle Ball, that beautiful bat, the yellow bat, the ball with the little slots in it. That's right, this game. We talked about the history, how all of that happened. We talked about him as a fan of the sport. Obviously, we get into my famous, not so famous questions, guys. So, without further ado, I give you the episode. All right. Well, welcome back, guys. My name is Ed, and obviously this is the Dad Hat Chronicles podcast. With me, guys, I'm very excited. I couldn't tell you how excited I am. This is one that I've been trying to get for a while, and I finally did it, guys. I'm so excited. I have David Mullany. You are, my friend. You're Wiffle Ball. You're part of the Wiffle Ball company. I'm so excited to have you on. How are you doing today, David?
Well, thanks for having me, Ed. Appreciate it. And we weren't playing hard to get. It was just a matter of what's going on any given day. So
right, that's the
glad
thing,
we were
though.
finally able to connect.
Exactly. It's just like, we're doing one of these, like, we're just crisscrossing each other. I'm busy, you're busy. It's just that's how life is, right?
Exactly.
All right. So, but nonetheless, I'm super excited for this. I grew up playing wiffle ball, streets in Puerto Rico, my brothers and all of this, right? Even now, I'm 41 years old, and I am a massive fan of the wiffle ball sport. And I wanted to, to start by, not by getting the background of the wiffle ball company, but, getting to know you, Dave. How'd you grew up and become a fan of the sport? Please tell me.
Sure. Well, having my dad and my grandfather start the company, we just kind of grew into it. But, even as a kid, my brother and I were always into baseball, and this was a great way. So, that we weren't whacking each other with regular bats at a young age. And the two of us could go out in the backyard. And, when we were real little, even my mom would be out there tossing the ball to us, getting us to hit during the day, or my dad would come home after work. And then, once my brother and I were old enough to actually throw fairly reliably, we'd be out there chucking them at each other and pitching and hitting and, little home run derby in the backyard. And it just kind of grew and grew. We play every day. It was just kind of what we did. In the morning, you head out, take your bikes, go down to the local or down the road. They were connecting two roads over a small river. So we go down and screw around there for a couple hours with the kids in the neighborhood, and then it was back to somebody's house and we play wiffle ball, or build a tree fort, and then go back to playing more wiffle ball. And that's just was my growing up. That's how we did it. And,
that's amazing. That's awesome. So
yeah.
Let me ask you. You are in Massachusetts, correct?
No, we're in Connecticut.
Connecticut. I'm sorry. I apologize. You're right. Connecticut. So what's your favorite major league team? Like, do you have a baseball team that you cheer for every day?
We watched a lot of baseball growing up, and I like to tell people it was the pre-cable era. So you had the antenna on the roof, and you had the rotor that would spin the antenna around up there. And our neighborhood channel 11 came in, and that was the Yankees station. The Mets did come in, but not quite as well. So we spent a lot of time, watching both the Yankees and the Mets. I'd have to say, we probably watched more Yankees than Mets, and but that was our growing up. My mom to this day watches. If there's a Yankee game on TV, she's watching it.
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna end this interview now. You guys are Yankee fans. I can't do it
Yep.
as a Cleveland fan. That's it. It's over with. Just bitter rivals.
Yep. One of my brother-in-laws barely talks to me because he's a huge Mets fan, and you know, so
That's
we give each
that's
other a
funny.
lot of heat.
You know, I respect people that say you're like, this is my team. Whatever that team is. Who cares at this point, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
with the
As long
with
as you're watching some baseball.
That's exactly what it is. That's what I was just gonna say. Like, listen, we're watching baseball. I don't care what team you're rooting for.
Yeah,
Obviously, I watch a lot of minor league baseball as well. So, to me, it doesn't really, matter at this point what team you root for. I'm a
yeah,
Cleveland fan, but that's it. Doesn't mean that I can, disagree or agree with someone who watches, whose fan is of the Yankees or the Dodgers or whatever, right?
yeah. I mean, on the way home, between work and home, there's a ball field. I'll stop and watch a game there. It could be a high school game. Next to it's a couple little league fields. If we're driving, even my wife and I will drive by sometimes and stop for a couple minutes and watch a little league game. It's fun. It's baseball.
And that's what it is. And I'm so happy. Like, as soon as spring hits, that's when like I automatically think it's like, it's baseball season. I don't
Yeah.
care about anything else right now. Just let me be and we'll watch some baseball games. And I'm a
You know,
happy
I,
camper.
I don't see people getting as excited over, you know, the start of, and I believe me, I love hockey. Nobody's all that excited when it's, preseason hockey and, guys getting, spring training is spring training.
Yeah,
It's like a religion for some people.
it is.
It's, yeah, it's a big deal.
It most certainly is, and that's it. That's how it is for me, right? Like, I mean, as soon as that February, time period is coming, that it's pitchers and catchers, right? And then
Yeah.
it is, then everybody shows up, and then now we get to see, future stars. Or I love that. I think you're right. Nobody really gets excited about even in the NFL. It's like, oh, there goes another preseason. They've even cut a preseason game from the NFL, so that goes to tell you the popularity of preseason for anything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of, it's one of those traditions. I know, um, there was a guy we, used to do some work for us, and he and his family would take weeks off in the spring and go down to Florida and watch spring training games. I mean, that was that was their big trip. That was their vacation every year, and they loved it, and they did it for decades.
I love it. I absolutely think that's great. Love that. Love to hear that. All right, so let's get into a little bit of this little company called Wiffle Ball.
Yep,
It's I like I said, I cannot speak highly enough of this guy. I'm such a huge fan. So, for those that don't know much about Wiffle Ball, and if you haven't, you've been, living under a rock. Give us a little bit of background on how that got started.
sure, sure. Well, we're just coming up on our 70th year right now. Believe it or not, sometimes it's hard to believe. I've been here for got to be close to at least 40 of them. So it's been great. But we started. My grandfather's the guy that started the company. He and my dad designed the first ball at their kitchen table in Fairfield, Connecticut. But the reason we're even here is because of my grandfather. He grew up in Massachusetts, which is probably where you got the Mass
Yep.
connection from.
Yep.
So he grew up on a tobacco farm in Massachusetts. His family, they grew wrapper leaf for it was like cigar wrapper,
Hmm.
um, and he was right along the Connecticut River. And he was not a fan of farming. Just it was not in his blood. Both his brothers stayed, and they were farmers in their own right. They were very accomplished in their fields. They were involved with a lot of university testing of different various crops, and it was that was in their blood. He just did not enjoy it. So
It's
he
not
went to
it's
college.
not him at all.
Nope, not for everybody. So, but it was always as I was a little kid growing up, we'd visit my grandfather's family up there, and it was always cool to be up on the farm. It was really I could see the appeal of it sometimes, really.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, like society is a little too much right now. Let's just move that to the
yeah,
farm.
yeah, no, it's pretty cool. But so he a good baseball player, and so after he graduated from high school, he went to UConn. You're in up in stores, and at that time, they were essentially an agricultural college.
Hmm.
Um, you know, we my wife found a yearbook from 1929, which was his senior year. Found it at a book sale, opened it up, and she goes, "The first page I opened to, yeah, there he was." So she goes, "I had to pick it up." But he was on the baseball team there. He's a pitcher for UConn for his whole college career up there. Graduated in 1929. The Depression, no jobs really to be had anywhere. He was, and like I said, his option was to go back to the farm, but he decided he'd come down to Bridgeport, Connecticut, try his luck down here. It was probably the biggest, you know, manufacturing, you know, hub here in Connecticut at the
Hmm.
time. And so he's down in Connecticut. He's living at the Y. It was like a buck a week or whatever it was,
Yeah.
um, and looking for work and not having much luck doing it. In his free time, he was playing on a couple different ball teams, just for enjoyment, kill some time. And he had run out of money. He said, "That's it. I'm going to go be a farmer." So he's at the bus stop. He's got his bags with him, waiting for the bus to take him up to Massachusetts. And a guy came up to him and he said, "Hey, aren't you Dave Mullany?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, what are you doing?" He goes, I'm out of money. I'm heading back home. And I'm going to work at the farm."
Right.
He goes, "No, you're not." He said, "You're playing baseball for McKesson and Robbins Pharmaceuticals baseball team." He goes, "And you have a job because you need to work for the company to play for the company."
Oh my
So that's
God.
how he got a job. And that was the reason he was in Connecticut, um, and remained here. So he worked for McKesson for from what 1929 up until the late 40s, and enjoyed his career there, but always wanted to do something, on his own, or to have his own company. So
Yeah.
he met up with a guy who had a formula for one of the first liquid car polishers that was on the market, and he left McKesson, started this car polish company. He was, manufacturing this polish, and I guess by all accounts it was pretty good polish, but they weren't especially great businessmen. And one of their at that point in time, one of their sales reps had sold rail cars of this polish, which was fantastic. But they didn't know he sold it on consignment, which meant at the end of the season, they can send it back for refunds on what was unsold. So
Oh.
by the time we were done, there's taxes, there's refunds on this stuff. There wasn't a lot of money left. He said, "Ah, the hell with it." So they closed that business down. So now he's out of work. He's probably, I think he's like 44, 45, somewhere
Yeah.
around there. He's got a family. He's got
Right.
no job. Said he cashed in his life insurance policy and would give him my $1,500, and he'd give my grandmother $50 a week. She didn't know he was out of work.
Oh
And
God.
he'd leave in the morning, like, "I'm going to work," and he'd leave and nowhere to go except for looking around. Looking around for a job. He goes, "Nobody's hiring a 45-year-old guy." He goes, "Times were different. It just wasn't happening."
Yeah.
So what he did notice is in the mornings when he left, it was summertime, my dad and his buddies would be out in the yard playing a game with a little plastic golf ball and a broomstick. They kind of landed at my grandparents' house because they were all booted off the baseball fields by the older kids.
Hmm.
And they went from there to tennis ball, and they were breaking windows of people's backyards and denting the aluminum siding on houses. So they, migrate to my grandparents' house, and my dad's like, "My grandmother's not going to enjoy us bouncing tennis balls off the house." So he's looking around. In the garage was a golf bag, and they found these little plastic golf balls. So this will work. So the games were good. It was hard to hit. The balls were so small, the bats were so skinny, um, and they were having a good time. My grandfather would come home at the end of the day, and they'd still be playing this game, off and on all day long.
I mean, talk
And
about hand-eye coordination, though, right? Like with those little
yeah,
golf balls and a little broomstick.
exactly. And so finally, he says, well, he noticed that my dad had a sore arm. He said,
Hmm.
"What's going on?" He goes, "Well, everybody's got sore arms from trying to throw a curveball with this little plastic golf ball." And my grandfather, having been a semi-pro pitcher, he said, "You guys shouldn't be doing this. You're too young." He goes, "You're not ready for throwing curveballs, especially with this thing." So
Hmm.
we thought, well, maybe we can make a ball that'll curve on its own with some control, and that'll solve that part of the problem. So from his days at McKesson, he had known a fellow who was into packaging. And one of the packages they created was a ball that popped apart, kind of like the little Easter eggs, the plastic Easter eggs you pull
Yeah,
apart.
yeah.
So this was just a round ball. So he got a bunch of those. And he and my dad would sit down every night at the kitchen table trying to cut different
Hmm.
patterns in or adding weight to a side. It was all trial and error. My grandfather was not uh, a science guy, was not technical, but he knew what he wanted to make happen. So after several, more than several attempts, they came across the design that we use now. And my dad took it out the next day, and yep, that's it. One of these right here.
Yeah.
So my dad took it out next day, and it worked. It was taped together, obviously, because it was designed to pop apart, but you could throw curves and sliders and knuckleballs. It did everything they could ask. So my grandfather said, "All right, well, here we go." So he took out a second mortgage on the house, borrowed some money from family and friends, and we're starting a company. And our first factory was up in Woodbridge, Connecticut, which isn't too far from where we are now in Shelton.
Yeah.
And it got going. And after a few years, we moved to our building here in Shelton, added on a couple of times. And while we're still not by any stretch of the imagination a big facility, um, we've been here and doing it to it for 70 years.
Tried and true. Nothing, they can't, don't change it because if it's not broken, don't try to fix it,
Yeah, and we're in a time where everything
Hmm.
needs to be newer and redesigned, and it just doesn't work with this product. It does what it's supposed to. It lasts. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's simple. It, as complicated as you'd like to make a game with rules and accessories and whatever else you can think of, it's still a bat and a ball. You're pitching and hitting, and that's what people enjoy. That's what kids like. It keeps their attention. Um,
keeps them
there's not a
outside
lot
away
of
from their iPads.
yeah, and it gives you some hand-eye skill, and you start early enough, and it helps you to learn to hit a baseball, learn to hit the curve. It's you're not bailing out every time when
Yeah,
you're hitting a curveball with a wiffle ball because you get hit by it. It's not a big deal.
exactly. I love that. I love that part, right? Because it's like, and you can play it anywhere and it won't disappear, right? You can, it's like, you
Yeah,
know where it went, because it won't go, too far, which is the best part about it.
yeah. You're not hitting one of these farther than you can see.
No, not at all.
So,
I love that. Love that. And I think that, like, now we're in 2023, but like the popularity of, wiffle ball has not gone away. If anything, I think if it has increased even more with so many leagues. If you go on social media or in YouTube, there's so many, leagues across the United States that are playing, grown adults are playing
yeah,
the wiffle ball game.
sure. It's one of those games you grow up with,
Yeah.
and then you just never stop playing, or hopefully you never really grow up. It's
I'm
one or
oh
the other.
I'm
Um,
never growing up. Yeah,
yeah,
that's already that
sure.
ship has sailed.
Yeah, it's a game for you start out because you start playing wiffle ball because you're really
Hmm.
not big enough, strong enough, or coordinated enough to play baseball. Then you play baseball, and you're still playing wiffle ball just for kicks and giggles and have fun in the backyard.
Yeah,
And eventually, the vast majority of us are no longer good enough to play baseball at any
no,
competitive level and still be able to get out of bed in the morning. But you
yeah,
can
my
still play
knees will
wiffle
be
ball.
killing me by the end of the day.
Yeah, but you can still play wiffle ball. You don't have to run around. You can play some home run derby. you're still throwing some nasty curveballs and hitting home runs. And I think that's that's what carries you from being a kid to well into adulthood and still wanting to play wiffle ball.
You're right about that, because like I said, so, you can go pretty much down the street, go on a regular park. You get yourself, make yourself a homemade strike zone, and then you got your paces, and off you go.
Yeah,
That's all you
yeah,
need.
yeah. There was a guy I knew. He said whenever he went to a picnic or big party, he always had a trunk load of stuff that he'd bring with him. All sorts of backyard gizmos and games, and he was it never failed. He goes, you throw a wiffle ball and bat out there. Eventually, almost everybody's playing. He goes,
Yeah.
everybody gets involved. The boys, the girls, the old folks, the younger folks. There was a family that used to have a reunion every couple of years, and they had
Yeah.
a huge wiffle ball tournament, and it was the oldsters versus the youngsters. And I don't know where the age break off was, but the older folks prided themselves when they lumped up on the younger guys and girls.
That's I love that. I love that. I'm actually, I want to put a wiffle ball tournament together, just because I think it'll be so much fun to
Yeah,
have, like, kids of all ages, adults, men, women. It doesn't matter, as long as you're having fun. That's what it really is all about,
yeah,
really.
absolutely, absolutely.
So let's talk about a little bit about, because I'm on your website right now. I'm literally, my other screen right now is your wiffle ball company website. And
Okay.
one of the tabs that are there is called the game rules,
Yep.
right? So talk to me a little bit about that, because you go on other places and you see that they have different rules, but these are the original wiffle ball rules right here.
Right. Exactly. So those are the rules that my dad played by in my grandparents' backyard. That's what he and his buddies developed. Um, it was an over the line style game, no base running. Because a lot of times you have one or two guys on a team.
Yep.
Not every neighborhood has 18 kids to play a baseball style game.
True.
Um, and that's really you'll see that it's kind of the rules are somewhat loose. It's in everything's paced out. It's not exact feet and inches.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of game it was. Everybody had a different backyard. Everybody had a little different. The tree could be in play. The,
Exactly. The
the
tree, the
antenna on the roof.
garage, the
Yeah,
garage.
the
You hit the
antenna on the
garage.
roof.
That's a
You hit
home
the
run.
antenna on the roof. Well, it's a great shot. You know what? You're out. Um, in my backyard is growing up at my parents' house. When we had that old aerial up on the roof. One of my that was in right field, and one of the kids in the neighborhood was a lefty and a pull hitter, and we just made up the rule one day. Yeah, you hit the antenna, it's an out. Well, nobody else hit it except him, and just to this day, I see him a lot, and to this day, he's just rails over that rule. But when we went to his house, he had his own set of rules, so
Of
that's
course.
the way it goes. Yeah, but the rules that are on our website, they're pretty basic. It's your backyard. You can stretch the field out. Some people call and say, "Well, this is too small." Well, okay, you stretch it out a little bit, no problem.
Yeah.
Or if it's too big and it's all 4 and 5 year olds, that's okay. Make it a little tiny thing. It's okay. It's there to have fun, not to be ruled over constantly. It's you're supposed to have a good time doing this, not beat each other up for. Although that can be fun too sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have brothers. I know this.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
uh, so I know that there was a book out there about wiffle ball, and I have it. And in one of the pages that I read was that, as far as revenue for ads or marketing, you guys really don't do that much at all, if anything.
Really, we don't. We did a TV commercial. You'll see that on our website.
I know. I see it. I have it right here in front of me.
While
Yeah.
we're waiting for it. Yeah. So that was a TV commercial that we had done, and is probably what shied everybody away from doing more of that, because while it did generate some sales, what happened was the cost of it all kind of it was a wash, and a
Mhm.
lot of effort in between. And yeah, all right, we're just going to focus on what we do. We're going to put everything into the product itself, making a good product, have, you know, equipment that's reliable and does its thing. And that's kind of what's carried us along over all these years, especially as a small company.
You're about to be 70 years in. I think that's a pretty good,
Yeah,
equation that for you guys.
yeah. And while I do understand, we'll get calls from people, you got to do this, you got to do that. And in a perfect world, sure, maybe that is a good idea. But, you know, we're comfortable with where we are. We're comfortable with the amount of, we put a lot of effort into this to begin with. There's only so thinly we can, and, we're just about putting a good product out there and letting that speak for itself.
That's amazing. I love it. And you know what though? Listen, if somebody has an issue with it, that's too bad because obviously I knew about it. Everybody knows about it. I mean, like we were just talking about earlier. Like there's so many leagues out there that are playing and then they literally just by name recognition they say wiffle ball and they already know, right? So as soon as they see that, like, I think they were having on ESPN the other day, when they do like the ESPN the Ocho, they were having a wiffle ball tournament, right? What do? All right, go on your website or go on Amazon or go wherever and you put wiffle ball and then boom, it's name recognition. And then that's the best form of advertising there is.
Sure. And while there are other plastic balls floating around out there, there's only one wiffle ball and it's not hard to find. And, you punch in wiffle, you are the first result that comes up is our company.
Yep.
You can get to our website. You can link off of that to somebody, or at least if you've never heard of it before, you know what it is with one click of a mouse.
That's amazing. I love that. Love to hear that. Yeah. That's awesome.
I think my grandfather would probably get a pretty good kick out of where things are. I mean, it was popular when he was still around. Believe me, he passed away in like 1990, so he saw a long stretch of the product's run. And he always was he took great pride in as well he should. Especially, he always relayed back to this story that our very first sales rep was a fella out in New York who handled all toy business kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And somebody had recommended this guy. He can help you get where you need to be, get into, start marketing this. So my grandfather had gone down for a meeting, and the guy took a look, and he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "I'll take this on." He goes, "Probably get a good couple of years out of it." And they laughed probably 10 years in that it was still cooking along, and here we are 70 years later doing this. And
when is it going to be the 70th year? Is it 2024?
Well, it was like summer 1953.
Okay.
Was when the ball was designed. When,
Gotcha.
Okay, this is going to be it.
Yeah.
So you can look at, say, August 1953 or August 2023 as the date of 70 years from inception. Or if you want to look at the date the company was incorporated, was in, I believe it was June of 1954. So we got a couple of dates there.
It doesn't matter at this. Yeah, like the inception. You know what? It was incorporated. All right, fine. That was the beginning right there. August of 1953. That's the beginning of of this little ball right here that I'm holding in my hand.
Right, and that's the way we would look at it. This is the ball was done. This is it. It's mid-August 1953. Here you are.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Have a big celebration. Let's do it. I like it.
Yeah. It's fun. My dad comes in pretty much every day. Still, he's going to be 83, coming up on 83. And it's awesome. It's great to see him every morning.
That's awesome.
What's going on? Where's things at?
A true family business.
Bring some coffee in, and we have a good time. It's
that's amazing. I love that. Love that all. let me ask you this, because the obviously something else that's synonymous with wiffle ball is the yellow on the bat.
Yeah. Yep. Everybody
Why?
says, "Oh yeah, the wiffle ball with with the skinny yellow bat."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
So
So
why?
it was a color that was picked. When we first started, the bats were wooden. I don't know if you remember those or not.
Hmm.
Um, but we had wooden bats from say 1954 up through the late 60s. Then there was an overlap where we had both wood and plastic for a few years, and then we moved entirely to plastic. But
Hmm.
when it came time to make the plastic bats, it was one of those, you can make it whatever color you want,
Yeah.
and you know brown wasn't all that appealing.
No.
You know, my dad and my grandfather talking about like, oh, what color should we make this? And I was like, why don't we do them yellow? Because that's the color they use a lot in like cartoons,
Yeah.
like the comics,
Yeah.
on the Sunday paper. So like, yeah, sure, we'll give it a shot, and that's what stuck, and that's what became so recognizable in the floor display, the yellow bat with the ball and the paper header up on top of it, and to the point it was so recognizable that we actually trademarked the color yellow for plastic, plastic bats,
Yeah.
and we were actually granted the trademark for it. So it's that's how sort of iconic that color is for our bat.
I love the fact that you said like, you know what? In the cartoons, they were yellow. Done.
Yeah, simple.
Eh, we humans, we tend to complicate a lot of things. And when I hear this, it's like, no, no, this is it was simple. There was cartoons were yellow. All right, cool, done. I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. We had a stretch of like a year, maybe a little more than a year during the mid '70s or early to mid '70s. There was the oil embargo,
Yeah.
um, where it was very difficult to obtain the the resin for our products.
Yeah.
And while we managed with the the resin for the balls, um, it was a lot harder for us to get what we needed for the bats,
Gotcha.
and we ended up using a lot of off spec material, regrind material, whatever we could that could make the bat. But the downside to that was the yellow color was too light, and it would show through any
Imperfection or anything like that.
imperfections, like that. So they went to making them in black, and our sales reps were like, "Oh, we don't know what's going to happen here. People are going to want the black. Is it, the bats is." Um, Coincidentally, it was the same year a couple of major league players came out with black baseball bats,
Oh,
and it was just pure luck. Um, but it's funny. So it all worked out fine. But to this day, people say, "Oh, we had the black bats. They were the best you ever made." When in fact, from a material standpoint, they were horrible.
the
Not horrible, but they were certainly not a
yellow bat.
a prime resin. It was not a prime resin that was being used. It was just cobbled together with what we were able to use, and so it worked out in the long run.
That's
Yeah.
so cool,
Then we
though.
went back to the yellow.
That is so cool that like you're literally saying like we were just trying to put it together. We whatever we could find,
Yeah,
that's what we got, and
yeah,
we went.
yeah. So
I
yeah,
love it.
if
Absolutely
we
love it.
yeah, if we, who knows if we didn't use the black color, it would have been some mottled, off colored, all sorts of different shades. Who knows?
You have a tie-dye bag going on for
Yeah,
sale.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Which would probably look pretty cool.
That would have been pretty awesome, actually. That'd be cool to see.
Yeah. Yep.
I love it. All right. We're about into that section. We're about to get into my, my fun section of, my famous, not so famous questions. But is there anything that I have not asked you, or anything that you want to talk about the company or anything like that at this point?
I don't know. We covered a lot. How we got here, and
Yeah.
a little bit about my family, and you know, a lot of people ask like, how how is it working with your family? And
Yeah.
I love it. You know, I get to see my brother and my dad 6 days a week. And
You need that Sunday
while
off.
some people will be like, okay, that's 6 days a month might be too much. Who knows? You know, it's we get along. I see my brother outside of work. You know, we do stuff together outside of work as well. Um, you know, and we'll run into guys who are, when my brother and I are together, and like, well, what, you guys don't see enough of each other during the day, at work. You do stuff afterwards, but we enjoy each other's company. We have a good time. Our families enjoy one another, and it's good.
That's amazing. I
I
love
really
that.
wouldn't have it any other way.
You know what though? And if it's working, again, it's not broken. Don't try to fix
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So
I
in that
love.
in that respect, I feel very, very fortunate. It's over a 40-year career to say you feel fortunate for all the people that you work with and spend time with. It's been
It,
good.
there's something to be said about that, right? Because I listen, even in my experience, I've had like God knows how many jobs I've had over my lifetime already of working. And for you to say it's like, no, I truly love what I do. I've been doing it for
Yeah,
this long, and there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. That's awesome.
yeah. I mean, one job. I've had one job.
One job. That's
Well,
that's
actually, if you really want to count, I had a brief stint for a couple of summers as working in a grocery store, and then in college, I bussed tables in a restaurant that was on campus. So
yeah. Well, I mean, but you needed like a little extra cash. But like, when talking
yeah,
careers here, that's one. That's not a
yeah.
lot of people, can say that.
No,
Not a lot of people
I
can say
know.
that, Dave. So, and
Not a
you're
lot
one.
of people would, and not a lot of people would want that either.
That's true. That's also true. But like you do, like you follow. That's the dream. That's your livelihood. That's a family company, and that's amazing.
yep. Not very. I feel lucky and very content in where I'm at with things.
I love it. Love to hear that. All right. So, are you ready?
Let her rip.
All right. So here we go. This is the first one I always ask everybody. So here we go. You go to a ballpark. You're going to Yankee Stadium. What's your food and drink of choice?
Uh, you got to get a hot dog. Got to get a Coke or
That's
whatever
right.
cola they have. Whatever cola they have at the
Yeah,
stadium.
right. At this point,
Coke,
so
Pepsi,
many people like,
RC.
yeah, right. Exactly. Okay. So if you could travel to anywhere on Earth, any place on Earth, where could it be?
Wow, that's a good one. Considering my travel experience is limited because I'm always here. um, and you'd be surprised if I listed where I've been. Um, I would love to hit the Southwest of the United States and just check out the Southwest.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. I think you should. You should definitely do it. Be like, you
yeah,
know what? I'm gonna go on vacation, guys. There's only a couple days. Don't go crazy, but I'm gonna go, to Arizona or something like that, right? By the
yeah.
way, I highly recommend Arizona. It's a beautiful state. Been there. Highly recommend it. All right. So, um, speaking of that, now I'm intrigued. What's the most interesting place you've been to?
Hmm. Um, wow, that's good. Every place I've been, you always pull away a little bit of something. Um, I do like. Well, it'd probably be a toss up. As when I was just before high school, I took a trip to Mexico, and it
Oh,
was like one of those school trip kind of things. You go up with this, and you saw pyramids. We saw, all the historic kind of stuff
yeah.
going on, and that was fascinating. It really, really was. Um, my wife um, has a twin sister, and
Mhm.
her family, they were all in the service. We went to visit them in Germany. Um, gosh, maybe 2000. When was it? Maybe 2010 or somewhere around there, 2011.
That's
I
cool,
don't know.
though.
Can't remember, but that was fun. That was a fun trip too.
That's
Um,
cool.
pretty
I've
much
never
anywhere I
been.
go is new for me. So it's all
Yeah.
good. It's all exciting.
That's a good thing though, because
Yeah.
it's all fresh.
I could
Uh,
cross over the river here from Shelton into the next town is Derby and find something exciting that I haven't seen before.
okay. Um, if you had to choose one, okay, choose one. What would your favorite fruit be? You're having that fruit for the rest of your life. What's that one fruit that you're gonna have?
Um, Probably an apple.
Apple
Apple.
is delicious.
Yeah.
Cider is good too. So
Yeah. Apple cider. You can do a lot with an apple.
yeah, you can. You're
You got
absolutely right.
pies. You got apple
Uh,
tarts. You got
everything. Absolutely. Oh, apple pie is so good, especially during the summer. Oh,
yeah.
can't wait. Okay, so what do you believe that pizza belongs that pineapple belongs on pizza?
No. No.
That was like that's not even a hesitation. That was like, nope, it does not. Not it.
You got to understand too. I am just 15 minutes away from the epicenter of pizza in it's New Haven pizza. The New Haven style pizza.
Yeah.
So we have Pepe's, we have Sally's, we have Modern, um,
And th-
Roseland.
and that's not changing. There's like there's no
There's some
pineapple.
phenomenal pizza that's in our very near vicinity. So there's a lot of options, lots of options, and I haven't, to be honest with you, while I like pineapple, I just couldn't put it on pizza.
There's
I
nothing wrong
heard I
with
heard
that.
it's great. I know people that they love it, and I'm like, I'm okay.
True. Okay, so if animals could talk, which animal
Yep.
do you think would be the rudest animal?
I don't know. See, now you got me picking on people's pets. You know, that's what you want. That's what you
Doesn't
want out of
matter.
me.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know.
I'll
I
say
don't
this.
know.
I honestly think that the raccoons would be the rudest animals there is out there.
I had a pet one as a kid. I had a
No
pet
way.
raccoon for a very short period of time, and then it started getting a little gnarly and
And
nasty.
then you're like, all right, you
So,
gotta go.
yeah, we were like, you got to go. So we brought it to the woods, and that was that. When it was really, really little, it was it was it was fun.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. There's some folks nearby that their yard backs up to ours, and they have goats. While the goats are pretty cool, they love to headbutt you.
Oh
They
my
love to butt,
god.
and I'm not fond of that. That seems a little on the extreme side for me, but that's just goats being goats, right?
That's still
That's what they
wrong.
do. Yeah, when they're not coming after me, they're going after each other. So I don't know. It's fine.
All right,
We've come
couple
to an
more.
understanding though.
Right. All right, couple ones here, and then I'll let you go, my friend. Okay, zombie apocalypse is happening. What will be your weapon of choice?
Not a wiffle bat.
No,
No,
no.
yeah, that's not going to. I'll just get tired trying that thing. I don't know.
Uh, that's
You know,
good.
you got to go. You got to go with the old fashioned Colt Python, I guess. Walking Dead.
Yeah, there you go.
Seemed to work okay for Rick for a while.
Yeah, you're
Until it
right.
didn't.
You're
Yeah,
right about that.
yeah.
All right, cool. Last one here. You have you can pick three people that you're going to invite for dinner, right? And you can have conversations, dead or alive. Who would those three people be?
Oh. Um, Gosh,
I
probably my
know.
grandfather. Actually, I'd love to have dinner with both my grandfathers, both my grandmothers too. To be honest with you, um, it would probably be within the family
Within the
because
family?
yeah, you just after a while, you like, I just miss them.
Yeah.
It's probably family.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I like it. I think that's a great
Yeah.
answer, my friend.
Well, there's
Uh,
plenty of interesting people out there.
yeah, it's
There's
true.
questions. There's always those questions you wish you asked, or the things you wish you said. So
True. That is very true, my friend. That is very true. Uh, Dave, thank you so much for doing this. I had an absolute blast. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of your company, of the sport, of the wiffle ball itself. Um, but where can people find you guys on social media?
Good question. There's links from our website. Um, Usually it's I think the Wiffle Ball Inc.
Yep,
at the Wiffle Ball Inc.
I have it on that for at least for
There's
your Twitter account is Wiffle Ball
Twitter.
Inc.
Yep, and I think Instagram there's a link there, and
Yep.
there's probably a Facebook link there.
There's Facebook, link, Instagram, and Pinterest. So I will make sure to put all of that there so you guys can follow Wiffle Ball Company. If they wanted to buy, like, let's say they wanted to buy any kind of merchandise, is there anywhere that merchandise is sold as far as Wiffle Ball t-shirts or hats or anything like that?
Yeah, there's a for merchandise. There's a link off our website. For the T-shirts, we have it's called Streaker Sports. They're a
Yeah.
licensee, so you can hit streakersports.com. Why there's not a link off our website just yet is beyond me, but we're somewhat in the late 20th century as far as our technology on that stuff goes. So I'll have to update that. But
I love it, and I'm
the
pulling
guys
it
at
up right
Streaker
now.
Sports,
I love it. I love it. I have the t-shirts here, no ball chasing, wiffle. I love that. I love these shirts, and they're amazing. There's a hat there, so we're gonna have to talk to Streaker Sports about getting a dad hat in there, so that way we can get it going. And I'll
Yeah.
add it to the collection.
Good.
Again, David, thank you
It
so
was great
much.
talking with you.
It was an absolute pleasure, and good luck to you guys in all your future endeavors. And
Hey, thanks. Same to
happy
you. I appreciate
70th,
you having me.
happy 70th anniversary for your company. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. It is a big deal for us, and we appreciate folks like you that keep the interest up out there, and everybody out there who's still playing.
Love it.
It's good stuff.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ed. Take care.
Hope you guys enjoy that episode with Dave. Now, make sure, guys, listen, I tell you guys every week, hey, go on their sites and follow. Seriously, it does make a difference every time we follow somebody on social media. We go on their sites, we buy their merch, things like that. So my ask and my challenge to all of you guys, all of you Dad Hat crew, is that follow Wiffle Ball, Instagram. They're on this Facebook, Twitter. Follow them. Go to Streaker Sports, right? They are one of their authorized dealers. They sell some really cool t-shirts. So that way, hey, listen, you're supporting two companies at that point, okay? And as far as the Dad Hat crew, obviously, I am on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, yep, even TikTok. I'm there as well. Yes, that's right. You heard it. So make sure you guys are following me, and then give the podcast 5 stars. 5 stars means I go up on the ranking. And more people follow. But with before I go, I got to give you guys the dad joke of the episode, and here it is. Why do criminals play baseball? They can hit, run, and steal. All right, I see myself out. And until then, guys, keep on grinding and always support the minor leagues. See ya.